Ray, an explosive expert of the CIA, and his partner Ned, are on a mission to execute a narcotics boss. He specializes in only eliminating his intended target, so when he sees a kid in the car he wants to abort, but Ned callously refuses, discarding the failsafe, forcing him to attempt to manually disarm his devices. He tries to remove them all, but he's too late and can't stop it from going off. When he comes out of the water, he is taught the consequences of going against a direct order. But he retaliates, insisting they should never compromise an innocent life, and promises to take him down and out of the agency. Years later, he's quit his job and now works as a freelance contractor, anonymously answering ads posted online by desperate people. He currently has frequent correspondence with Mae Monroe, a woman who wants revenge on Tomas Leon, the son of an organized crime boss, and his two goons Charlie and Bill, whom as a child and while hiding in the closet, witnessed them mercilessly torture and end her parents for their silence. He does his homework on her, investigating while he decides on whether to take the case. Tomas and his father Joe are at a party where we see Ned, who has been working for their syndicate on some technology upgrade job, in attendance. While on the other side, growing anxious at Ray's hesitancy, Mae decides to take matters into her own hands and in hopes to catch his attention. She attends the same party where Tomas is instantly infatuated with her, and the two quickly develop a relationship closely observed by Ned. On the phone with Ray, she is cautioned of the dangers of getting close to such a man, but she uses this to try and persuade him to help her. One day while with Tomas, she sees Charlie as the two manhandle an associate. This brings up old memories, and she can't stand it much longer and decidedly leaves, secretly monitored by Ray. When Tomas catches up to her, he warns her never to walk away from him, and she agrees, visibly shaken up. Later that night, Ray follows them as they go dancing. When they leave, he makes it a point to be noticed by Tomas, who confronts him, and they have a tense yet harmless exchange. Feeling she's gone deep enough, he agrees to take the job, but sets up some ground rules. First, she shouldn't contact him again, but he will keep in touch. Secondly, she should stop seeing Tomas, and thirdly, if he finds out that this is a setup, he will end her. Ray watches as Charlie walks into the office of their club manager, whom the bosses believe to be stealing. He then stealthily rigs the door and waits for his target. Inside, Charlie wastes no time and eliminates his colleague, oblivious of his own fate. Just as he is about to leave, he gets a phone call and halts for a second. He's quickly frustrated by the caller and storms out, but is immediately thrown back and left to swim with the fishes while no one else is hurt. Next morning, Ned, Joe, and Tomas discuss the night's events. Ned points out that since Charlie is a small fish, the hit must be personal, although done by a professional due to its isolated nature. Tomas wants to find the culprit, but Ned is put in charge due to his expertise. They commission the corrupt chief of police to make it all look official, and Ned and his men are allowed to take over the investigation at the station. They receive a murky welcome as the investigators go over pictures of potential suspects. But he quickly corrects this and shows off his skills by swiftly building a small device that he erratically uses to threaten them into submission. Back in his secure solitary lair, Ray speaks to Mae, who is grateful about Charlie. She still believes she can be an asset to him, but concerned for her safety, he insists she stay away, even refusing her suggestion that they meet despite their growing feelings. However, when Tomas moves to a more secure location while things calm down, she is right by his side. Bill goes about his normal routine, but is cautious of his every move, afraid to meet the same doom as Charlie. When he reaches the garage, he checks his car before getting in and finds a device underneath that he manages to remove, while Ray casually walks around unnoticed. Bill then cunningly gets the parking attendant to start his car, taking care to conceal himself just in case. Once he is sure it's safe, he drives off confidently. But when he reaches the car park barrier and enters the security code, he is politely bade farewell to the afterlife. When Ned gets to the scene, he recognizes Ray's MO. He then goes to Tomas' place and takes his frustrations out on Mae, and it is revealed that the two are in cahoots as he orchestrated the whole plan so that she could use Ray to execute her revenge, and he would use her to lure him out. But she tells him she can't keep him online long enough to get a trace. When it is implied that she is no longer of any use, she reminds him that he needs her, as it was her ads that Ray responded to, and it's clear he now trusts her. Tomas walks in, having heard nothing of their conversation. Ned lies that he's come to check up on him. Tomas relates that he's sick of being cooped up in that big, beautiful house, but he's told that it's for his own good. However, instead of lying low, Tomas is out in public guarded with heavy security, with Ray watching them closely. He goes to a private area as a waiter approaches with his afternoon coffee that is swiftly switched before it is delivered. But when Ray sees May go into the same room, he quickly tries to disarm the device but can't do it in time, and while inside May says her name to Tomas just before it goes off. Ray runs towards her, but when he sees Ned, he backs away as they carry out their bodies. Joe is devastated and blames Ned, but he argues that Tomas didn't follow his instructions and should have stayed out of sight. The distraught father wants the offender brought to him alive. Ray tries to reach May but gets no response. He then goes to her apartment but only finds her locket, while at the same time Ned gets the police to post more ads online that sound like May's. When Ray sees this, he happily responds, but is disappointed to hear a different voice. Ned tries to keep on the phone to get a trace when Ray catches on. He knows Ned is listening in and taunts him to get him to speak, admitting it was him that turned him in and got him fired from the CIA. Ned finally bursts out accusing Ray of being responsible for so many loss of lives, and he's no more innocent than Ned is. Ray terminates the call just before they can trace it. He then goes to a funeral believing it to be May's, but when they read the obituary he has to check to confirm seeing an old lady instead, just as May walks in and confesses that she had to be there when he got Tomas and faked her demise so that they could finally meet. Then they leave together just before Ned gets there. Ray and May go to a hotel for the night. The next morning she leaves a note that she can't be trusted while Ned and his men are asking around about the couple when the clerk confirms to have seen them, and soon after, May comes out of the elevator bumping into Ned. She lies telling him that the funeral was meant to draw Ray out, but when she's asked of his whereabouts, she pretends to be confused about the exact location. She manages to sneak away to the bathroom and uses a woman's phone to call Ray and warn him about the oncoming danger. When Ned and his men get to the room, it is empty except for carefully rigged devices that separates the room from the building. He then uses his action skills to get away from the rest of the men, while Ned takes May to Joe and exposes her as the fraud responsible for his son's end. When she reveals her identity, he discloses that he was the one who gave the orders, but the keeper to get to Ray. They wait for his call, and when he does, although feeling betrayed, he agrees to meet with her as she reminds him on the note their relationship ended on. At the meeting point, men lie in wait for him. When she walks in the building, it is immediately disintegrated and they escape via boat. At the station, Ned uses the phone recordings to search for them. When he hears noises of a bus in the background, they narrow down their search area, going to a local store where a kid that delivers his groceries recognizes his picture. Safe in his lair, May explains that she now has to take down Joe since he's responsible for her parents. He tries to persuade her not to leave but is interrupted by police sirens surrounding them. Ray quickly arms his protective devices, but Ned, having known his tactics so well, manages to sneak in behind them, revealing that he's slipped a device into May's pockets to subdue her and control him enough to get him back to Joe. Unfortunately, he steps on a booby trap that sends him flying hot. Ray then talks May into freeing herself and the two run while his lair is completely destroyed. Sometime later, Joe receives news that the trio are no more and is delighted, opening an accompanying package containing May's fatal locket, wiping the smile off his face. Finally avenging her parents, they drive off and the movie ends. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this recap. We really appreciate it. Check out some more videos on our channel and see you on the next one.